Have you guys heard about the kick change?
Protected Soto.
You see the grip? It is a semicircle change, and again, terrific late movement on it.
Here's how it came about, here's how you can throw it, and here's what separates it from other changeups. I'm Leif Strom, Assistant Director of Performance at Athletics. Let's dive into it. In 2023, I wanted to identify a pitch that could help supinated arsenals become more platoon neutral and maybe add something to a pronated arsenal. That's when we went with a data team and started pulling changeups that kind of popped off the charts for us, and we recognized that Coan Anderson had a unique changeup that he wasn't exactly holding throughout his career. So we wanted to identify times he had thrown it well and what was different about those times. Luckily, Coan Anderson was a former Trout athlete, and we had Edgertronic of the grips that he used when the changeup was good. We noticed that the ball came out of the hand much differently than changeups that I'd seen in the past. We noticed there was a little bit of a spike with his middle finger, and what was important to us is what was that spike making the ball do. So that's when we dove into how we can start teaching it and we can start making it better as we give it to our athletes. We started working on the kick change and refining it with our athletes in the summer of 2023, and that brought a couple of our athletes to break it out in Pro Day of January 2024. So in general, what we found was the most effective is to really let the ring finger work and use the middle finger as an axis for this ball to kick down. That's where we started experimenting with where the grip can be and what type of bias is going to play. So with the kick change, you're not flicking or kicking out this finger at all. You're looking to kick down the axis and let that ring finger work around the ball. But a lot of times you're going to see that middle finger be the last touch point and have a slight influence on what that axis is doing. Now let's get into some grips you can use to execute a kick change. The first one that may be prominent now is a high spike, and this is going to work for guys who have a heavier supination bias and maybe have struggled in the past throwing regular changeups. A lot of times this is just going to get their ring finger more involved and allow them to work through something that they can repeat over and over. The next thing you can try is working this finger inside of the ridge of these seams. A lot of times for guys who maybe are 50-50 on the spectrum of supination, pronation, are going to have more success creating some type of pressure into this ball as they go to make this throw, and that way the ring finger is going to allow itself to work. For some guys, just having the pad on the ball and making sure that this underside of the knuckle is not on the seams is going to be enough for them to get the action that they're looking from a kick change.
So how exactly does remote coaching work? You will have unlimited access to text and email your coach, hop on weekly FaceTime calls, and receive regular mechanical and training updates. Each day, your plan will detail exactly what to do from start to finish, with instructional videos for every single throwing drill, mobility routine, and lifting exercise. Nobody's going to do the work for you, but we can show you the path to get there. It's your career. Let's get to work.
In general, if you have access to edger, what you can do is mess around with the orientation so you can grab more seam effects through ball fight. So normally you're going to find this pitch in a supinated arsenal, and it's going to be a really good weapon against lefties. For guys who lean heavily on pronation, even if they go with a spiked grip, a lot of times you're just going to see them come over the ball and throw a normal changeup. The spiked finger can reduce some spin, but they're just going to be throwing with a normal pronated changeup grip, and you'll see those range anywhere from 5 vert to maybe a -2 at times. The massive advantage of the kick change is the velocity that you're able to hold with it. It's similar to when a pronator tries to throw a big sweeper and velocity gets completely tanked. You're looking to maintain velocity of that off speed by leaning into what you do naturally. Some of my guys who throw in the mid to upper 90s can get this pitch up to 88, 90 miles an hour. That's the general split you're looking for is 8 to 10 miles an hour off the fastball. So if you're looking for some cues with this pitch, you can think about pressure in the ring finger. If that's not working for you, you can think about taking pressure off of the middle finger to inherently create more pressure onto that ring finger and get the action that you're looking for out of the hand. So with many pitches, I expect that the kick change and things like it have existed in the past, but like a seam shifted two seam, a lot of times guys are throwing it not knowing how they're throwing it, and it's taught the same way. So for example, with seam shifted two seams, a lot of times a supinator would say, hey, I'm just getting through it. Pronator goes and tries to throw the same pitch. They get through it and what they conceptualize getting through it, and it's not the same. It's the same with the kick change. And for us, it was about identifying what group can throw this, how can we throw it the best, and how can we make it the best possible pitch against hitters. So anything with modern baseball, a lot of what we're chasing is things that I've done before. Sweepers, death balls, kick changes have probably been thrown in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way up to modern day. The big thing now is identifying what we have, similar to how the sweeper was identified in the mid-2010s, the death ball was recently identified, and now the kick change has been identified. It makes these pitches actionable, and it starts to increase the amount of them you're seeing in the higher levels. So some comparisons in movement can be seen in splitters. The difference between a kick change and a splitter is a lot less variables in terms of environment and day-to-day change with the kick change that you're going to experience with a splitter. Many guys are going to be weather dependent or just field dependent on that splitter, and that's going to affect the variability from game to game. So something comparable in movement to a kick change that's not a kick change would be Sengai's ghost fork. However, this is a pitch that is much slower to what it would be compared to a kick change. You're going to start seeing more of an influx of this pitch in the higher levels, similar to what you've seen with the sweeper and the death ball in years past. And I'm excited to see what it can do for some guys' careers. Please comment any questions you have about this pitch, and we'll get back to you with our thoughts. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.